welcome to another week of Game Nation. I am, of course, your host, Brian Bonardi. With me, as always, is...
Russell Pierce, who is also a host. I want to point that out. You're not the only host.
No kidding.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
I say other phrases, but we're in public, so okay. I can't really do it.
That says it all right there.
Yeah, that says it all. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. Of course, just to give you a rundown, we've got lawsuits going on this week. A big name in entertainment industry, has found a new home in terms of its video game properties. Someone got kicked off a team.
Yes.
And a couple more updates on some of our previous stories and
some new stories.
And some new stories that are updated. So
Also, we're going in the spirit of the recent release of Iron Man 3.
Did you see it?
I did see it.
I saw it.
It was good, not great. I'm going to give it a good, not great. It felt small compared to Avengers, but that's no fault of the movie itself.
Also, I feel like that was kind of expected. Like Avengers was kind of like the first big meal.
Yeah.
And like after you have a meal that huge, everything in comparison to it is just like this is small. Like I wanted a bit more, but then again,
it was the burger to the gigantic steak. It was good, but it just. That's of no fault of the movie itself.
No.
But in the spirit of it, we're going to do a few Marvel-centric things today. We have a retro game room today.
Oh, yeah. We got a really good retro game room this time.
Yes. And we got some top fives again.
Everyone loves lists.
Yes. Lists are awesome.
They are awesome.
And one of our stories happens to deal with a particular Marvel game coming out soon. Some people are excited.
But right now, we're just going to get through some of the quicker ones. Like some that aren't really that important. Well, one that I feel is really important, but not in the aspect that you think. But the first one I want to announce is, how many of you like The Sims? Just out of curiosity, if any of you
they can't answer you, Brian.
This is a hypothetical question. They can answer me if they want to. We have a chat room open up that they can respond to. They can call in at 347-327-9451.
Now they can answer to you.
So now you guys can answer my questions if you want to. But for those of you guys who enjoy The Sims, now I used to like The Sims, but since for the longest time it's just been dying on me. Well, Sims 4 was announced. Now, before you all get your panties in a twist because of, Sims 4 is announced, it's going to have always on, it's going to be like SimCity, always on connection.
I don't wear underwear.
That's great information. I don't think I need it.
My panties can't get in a twist if I'm not wearing any.
Okay, your pants get in a twist. Okay. But Maxis and EA have already announced that Sims 4 will have offline play. They've already pretty much said they've learned a lesson from SimCity that the always-on thing, while may be great for some properties, may not be that great for other properties. So The Sims 4 will not have an always-on connection. I'm
not the biggest Sims fan. I never really was.
Well, I know a lot of people are. I have a bunch of friends who are.
I get really frustrated with the game because
Is it because you can't get your Sims to do what you tell them to do?
That it's just I always feel like I could be doing so much more than pretending to control people's lives. I'd rather control actual people's lives. It's more fun.
You're quite good at that, too.
I am pretty good at that. Right now, though, I am loving Cheez-Its, though. I'm plugging Cheez-Its right now. I am eating the breakfast, which I did not eat today until I got here. Well, I had some filming obligations. I had.
Well, that's okay. I obviously had. I didn't have the greatest breakfast either. I had what was left over of a bag of potato chips for breakfast.
Yeah, well, we're both in the same boat then.
Yeah, we're both in the same boat in terms of not great.
And that is something you should be able to do in The Sims. You should be able to make your people eat so unhealthily that there's actually serious health complications.
They just start developing like diabetes or have heart attacks or something like that.
Some serious health complications would be and I think that's one of my problems with
Maxis, if you're hearing, there's an idea for you.
Yes. That's one of my problems with The Sims. Is it's just there's even though it boasts that it's always been a game where you can pretty much control someone's life, it really has a very limited set of things you can do with that person's life, and I don't know if I'm going to have a simulation game about someone's life, I want to be able to run them so far into the ground that they can't get out of it. I mean,
like some people we know.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. if I could get like a rated M for mature Sims where like you can like get somebody to live in an alleyway and like try to like be this crack-addled hobo.
Whoa. Whoa. Let's not get into condoning drug use here, man.
I'm not condoning drug use. I'm just saying that it is an aspect of life. People do go through this.
Yeah, I understand. All right. But let's get on to the next thing. Now, this is the one that I'm most...
Way to stiff-arm me to the next topic, Brian.
You're welcome.
I was getting on a roll there, a roll with cheese, and all of a sudden, you're just like, no more.
Yeah, but you know what,
talking about crack addicts.
You know what, though?
Hail to the king, baby.
That's what I got to say to you. That's what I got to say to you on that one. So right now...
That wasn't you. Anyway, go on.
You know what I'm... Never knew. Anyway, so this is a game that I've been following for quite some time now. If any of you guys used to play the Wing Commander games, Freelancer, Privateer, any of those, the X Universe games that have recently come out, then you know about some of the great space simulation games that have been out there. Well, pretty much the guy who developed Wing Commander, Chris Roberts, has lately been working on a new game called Star Citizen. And he's taking a different turn with how he's developing this game, in the sense that he's not going through the traditional roads. He's not going through He's not going through a publisher. His entire game has been funded through crowdsourcing, either through Kickstarter or through his own website.
Okay, I've actually haven't heard about this. This is all news to me, to be honest with you.
It's been going on for about. He's been pimping it out for about a little over or under a year, like around a year, I would say.
I guess I've been under a rock, I guess.
Yeah, you've been under a rock, and also this isn't really a huge news because not many people, because this game is only dedicated to the PC. It's only coming out on PC.
Yeah, I'm a console gamer.
So he's really targeting a very niche marketplace. But pretty much the funding for the game has reached over $9 million for the entire game.
Well, and that's considering the fact that how he's generating funds, that's pretty good.
Well, like I said, like through Kickstarter, he did a Kickstarter, and through Kickstarter alone, he averaged about 2.1 million, and the rest came through his own website, through like donations or his own staff or various other ways to get funding. But the thing that really like shocks me about this is the Kickstarter thing. Now, everyone's been...
you might want to explain it to people.
Okay, for those of you who don't know what Kickstarter is a website where if you have like a passion project, like any type of project you want to do, a video game, a board game, a movie, a TV series, a web series, anything like that, Kickstarter...
A crack addiction.
Hmm?
A crack addiction.
No, not that. Like so... It's a funding site. It's a funding site, so... And then you set a deadline, like, okay, we're going to keep this funding open for X number of days. I think their maximum allotted time is like a month or two. I'm not 100% certain on that.
Man, I have a lot of good ideas. I should get involved with this. I might be able to get some.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up because outside of this, I'm actually working on a project that we're hopefully going to get Kickstarter up soon.
Okay.
So, but we're still working out the details on like the script and everything because with Kickstarter, you need to have a really good pitch to get people interested.
Well, obviously. I mean, you need a good pitch with anything.
Exactly. So if your pitch is crap, you're not going to be able to qualify for the funding. And if you fail to meet your targeted goal in the fund you raise, all the money goes back to the people that they donated. And you also have to give reward incentives. Like if someone gives you like, say, $10,000 is like one of the maximum numbers, they're going to want something back. Like, look, I just gave you $10,000 to fund this project. You got to give me something in return here.
Yeah, it's obviously it's a return on their investment.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
one of the things that I like about this is it gives a whole new realm for game developers, either public, like the big name developers, or the indie scene.
Yes, the indie scene is actually growing too. A lot of these games are getting picked up by Xbox Live, PSN, or just Steam, or just in general, just are being downloaded on their own. I mean, you got like, what was that? What was that Meat one?
Meat Boy, Super Meat Boy.
Super Meat Boy. That was an indie game. That took off. Actually, most of them all start out as indie games and they pick up later. Like, I'm pretty certain that's how Angry Birds started out.
That's how Angry Birds started. Remember Alien Hominid?
Alien Hominid.
Alien Hominid was originally a Flash game on Newgrounds, and now it's on like Xbox Live Arcade.
It was actually released for the PS2 at one point.
Yes, it was.
Remember that? There was actually a PS2 release that of Alien Hominid, which at the time was unprecedented. That they actually had a Flash game that became a console game that was actually on disc.
Mm-hmm.
So that was actually pretty cool for the time. But it's becoming a really big thing now, because you think about it, a lot of these bigger companies, they focus a lot of time on one project.
Mm-hmm.
I mean they have multiple projects at a time, but let's take Bethesda.
Call of Duty.
Let's take a Bethesda for instance. I mean they have several really good properties. Dishonored, obviously.
Dishonored they didn't develop. They published.
That's what I'm saying. That's where I'm going with this. Is that they have Dishonored, they have Fallout,
mm-hmm.
they have Elder Scrolls, and if they were to try and put all these games out at the same time, it would lower the quality of all of them. First of all, so what instead is it's with the indie games, it's more like instead of telling someone, hey, we want this game, you go develop it, they just look and they find out that this game has already been developed, and they go, oh, this is a good property.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can buy this, get some money behind it, and then it can be even better.
Even better is that Kickstarter. Some people have even been using Kickstarter to acquire rights of old franchises. Now, I mentioned a couple episodes ago, I believe it was last episode.
It was last episode.
About a bunch of guys trying to reacquire the Homeworld franchise. Now, they didn't make it to what they needed to buy the franchise because they lost out to Gearbox.
They were nowhere close.
Nowhere near close. I agree with you. But you got these other companies like a bunch of guys bought the Wasteland properties and they're working on Wasteland 2.
Even wastier.
Whatever they're calling it. So you got these guys who really love these old classic PC games or console games. And like, you know what? Let's raise some money. Or it's even guys who own the original license. Let's raise some money together and make this again. And I think that is really good. I love this Kickstarter thing, but I don't know how long it'll last.
Well, like anything, it's going to get corrupted eventually.
Eventually, I agree with you. But that's like the big thing I wanted to talk about. So what we got next?
Look, in the feeling of the Marvel spirit, I think I'll just do this one a little early. I wanted to save this for a little later.
Okay.
As you know, there's a Deadpool game coming out.
Yeah, that comes out next month.
Yes, in the 25th specifically. Deadpool, he's a lot of people. There's a lot of speculation as to how good this game will be, whether or not it's going to be top tier or it's going to be one of those games you kind of wait till it's in a bargain bin.
Yeah.
I myself am not 100% certain on how I feel about it, but Deadpool is a very popular character. Some
people would agree he's popular for the wrong reasons.
He is popular for the wrong reasons, but he's very popular amongst the comic crowd. Mm-hmm. He's not really that well, even though he was in X-Men Origins Wolverine, even though they ruined the character.
Oh, you mean Baraka from Mortal Kombat?
Yes, Baraka from Mortal Kombat. He was, He was.
Wait. Oh, wait.
Yes.
Exactly.
Baraka from Mortal Kombat. But anyway, like I was saying, he was very downplayed in that movie, and I don't think he should have been. But that's besides the point. He has always been kind of a in-house favorite
mm-hmm.
of the comic elite.
Okay.
So to say, people who really like their comics, and he's, there's always been speculation maybe he'll get a movie. I think this is the better route, is to go with the video game. Now, the announcement that came out is recently they've been slowly kind of revealing who's going to be in the game. I mean, everybody already knew Wolverine was going to be in there. Cable was added.
Yeah.
Guys that make sense to be in a Deadpool game because they've worked with him. There is a whole series called Deadpool and Cable. And Wolverine is very connected to him. But they recently added Psylocke and Mr. Sinister to those.
I remember Mr. Sinister from the original X-Men cartoon series from the 90s.
Yeah, and he's not much different in the comics. He's pretty much the same awesome. Mr. Sinister, for those who don't know, I'm a really big comic fan.
That's why I'm having you do most of the talking.
Yeah, defer to me. It's okay. We all have to defer to somebody. I deferred to you just a minute ago. But with Mr. Sinister is like, he has like healing abilities as well, very very similar to Wolverine, but like excessive amount of it. Like he can heal from like a single like eyeball, like his whole body.
So he's Cell?
Sort of. Cell before Cell. He's been around.
Yet
he's been around.
Cell became. Well, no. When was Mr. Sinister?
He was. I want to say he was in like the 7th.
Okay, so he was Cell before Cell.
I want to say it was the 7th.
In before Cell.
I don't know. I mean, I don't have an encyclopedic knowledge of exactly when every character was designed. All I know is that the X-Men came really prominent from the 70s into the 80s.
Okay.
So, it would make sense that he would be there. He's very heavily connected to Apocalypse too. So he might that might be hinting towards something for future games. I don't know, but he's got the healing ability. He's also a telepath. You know, he's got a lot of abilities. He's really cool. Anybody who hasn't heard of him, if you do get this game, you're in for a treat if he's the villain. He really is. Like, Mr. Sinister may sound like a corny name. Like, oh, Mr. Sinister. Oh, what does he do? He does sinister stuff. Oh, God.
Well, yes, he does,
but no,
very...
despite the corniness of his name, he is one of the better Marvel villains that is out there. A lot of people were very upset that they never figured out a way to work him into the movies. Which can change with the new movies that are coming out soon.
It could be.
But, you know, it could be. Psylocke, I personally like Psylocke. She's more of a... I don't know if she's going to be in because I don't know how exactly they're doing the game, whether she's going to be somebody you fight or not, because Deadpool's sort of an anti-hero.
Yeah.
He's a on-again villain anti-hero. So, you know, we could be seeing that maybe early in the game he faces guys that are considered heroes because he's doing his villainy thing. He could be doing his anti-hero thing as well. But Psylocke is she's a telekinetic. She uses her ability. She basically creates weapons. If you can think T-1000, but instead of metal like spikes and stuff, psychic spikes. Those are really cool. She's one of the lesser developed characters in the X-Men universe, but she's gaining a really huge following. So I think that might be why they plugged her into this game.
Well, I'm really excited for this game. Now, right now I have yet to reserve the game because I feel like it's not reserved. In my book, it's not reserved. It's like one of those games I want to look at, but it's not like, oh my God, I have to have this game.
I'm starting to avoid reserving games simply because I feel like I'm being pressured into it all the time. Oh, you'll get this special gun, or maybe, you know, you get secret characters. And I feel that is a wrong practice. That they shouldn't be taking out in-game material. I mean, with the special skins and stuff, that's whatever. You know, I can make Kratos look like he's, you know, a different person. Big deal. But like when they take entire portions of the game out and you only can get it through reservation, I feel like that's a terrible practice. And by me participating in it, it just makes it. It just adds one more person who is supporting that kind of, you know, behavior. And I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I kind of don't like that either, but that's a whole nother topic for discussion for
we'll talk about that
another day.
Yeah.
We got a lot of stuff to talk about. One of the interesting stories that someone just directed me to earlier today, actually. Do you follow esports at all?
A little bit. I don't really. I mean, we have a friend, a very good friend, who does follow this, the MLG kind of stuff, and he's really the extent of the knowledge.
He's actually the one who sent me this story.
Oh, it was him.
He was the one who sent me the story.
No, I should have put two and two together on that one. But he you know, he keeps me sort of updated. Whereas I do understand that it is a huge thing. I don't really I don't really participate in a lot of online PC gaming.
Yeah.
And
I don't go online either because online because
there's no easy mode online.
Well, besides that, my nickname online has tended to become target practice.
I gave you that nickname.
Yes, you did, but it's gone around. It's spread like wildfire. Damn it.
but you know so. But I do know a little bit. I know some of the bigger names. You know, like the ones that play.
Yeah, like
Korean names.
Like in regards to this one, recently. This is in regards to the competitive scene in terms of StarCraft 2.
Probably the biggest competitive scene there is. It's
the only one I can think of that is on par with it would probably be, outside of first-person shooters, I'm not grouping them together, would probably be League of Legends.
Yeah, I mean, I think StarCraft 2 is still significantly larger.
Yeah.
But they're in the same vein. They both travel with MLG. So.
Yeah. But one of the big teams on there, Evil Genius, just recently went from what I've been hearing, one of their biggest guys go. The guy's name is Idra. Now, if you know who Idra is,
I've heard of him.
Good for you, because my knowledge of Idra is very, very limited. But from what I'm gathering here, he was recently let go from Evil Geniuses because of some comments he decided to make.
Yeah, I'm reading the comments. I'm going to paraphrase because there is quite a bit of profanity.
Yeah.
So if you just give me a minute, you just keep talking. I'm gonna
pretty much. Like if you don't know, Evil Genius is one of the big teams in StarCraft 2. Everyone is pretty much all the competitive players are in teams. You have Evil Genius. You have help me out here, somebody. Give me some other teams. I'm drawing a blank on these teams here.
I don't know the team names. I know the individual names.
Team Liquid is another team. Team Liquid's another one. Evil Genius. Those are two others. Complexity. Someone's giving me all these team names. I'm just throwing them out there.
I think I have this basically. It's essential. I'm not going to read it because, like I said, there is profanity.
The one thing I will read in it's verbatim is the comment given to released by the CEO of Evil Genius in regards to what happened.
Well, let me finish here first. Basically, his complaint seems to be that there's a lack of reward for resulting from a lack of rewards from results, and there's a massive abuse of the competitive platform, and then he goes into several little blurbs that have an expletive.
Well, I think those are. I'm looking at the image right now. I think that's a comment from one user, a comment from another user, and he just responded with, "Nope, you're all a expletive deleted." Yeah. It just so happens that I get paid to treat you like. Pretty much, he's telling. Pretty much, people are saying you're treating the fans like crap, and Idra just goes, "Yeah, well, I'm getting paid to treat you like crap." So,
okay, yeah.
Hey.
I mean, this is I couldn't really read it too well.
But pretty much because of that, it became a PR nightmare for Evil Genius, and they pretty much let them go. Now, I have here from the Evil Geniuses, I took this from their website. Evil Geniuses, if you want to call him the CEO, he's their CEO, Alexander Garfield. He pretty much says, and I'm going to quote right here, there's no easy way to say this, so I'm just going to say it. After having him on our roster for nearly 3 years, we have decided to release Idra from the Evil Geniuses StarCraft 2 team. To state the obvious, this was a very difficult decision for us. Over the past several years, we as an organization have grown close to Idra, and we have developed a deep appreciation and respect for him as a person. We consider him a member of our family, and parting ways with him leaves us all with a very heavy feeling in our stomachs. We have built our company as a players-first organization. This was reflected in a number of already well-known benefits that our players receive, such as the attentiveness of our management, the quality of our on-site facilities, and excellent financial support. Yeah, these guys are getting paid a lot for this. That's an editor's note. My note, by the way. And while these are all vital parts of taking a players-first approach, we believe that one of the most important ways to support professional gamers is to stay out of their way. As most of you are already aware, we let our players be themselves. We believe that our industry's diverse assortment of vibrant personalities plays a huge part in helping make esports so much fun for ourselves and for the viewers. No great novel is without great characters, and we like to let our players find their own roles within the esports storyline by showcasing the personalities they were born with. We have strict guidelines that regulate certain kinds of more extreme speech, and we take disciplinary action when those guidelines are violated, but for the most part, we stay out of the way. This is why it was never really an issue for us that Greg can be rude to his opponents in games, or that he usually speaks his mind very bluntly and directly. But to us, there's a very big difference between a player being disrespectful to an opponent in a ladder match and a player being disrespectful to the entire community of people who, via their own enthusiasm and passion for the entertainment product he creates, actually make his profession possible.
So basically, in sum, what he's saying is it's okay for him to be a jackass when it's called for to opponents and
in a competitive way.
The jostling, the showboating, these kind of things. They come with the territory.
Hang on a sec. I think we got someone. Hang on. Yeah, that's a phone call. Give me 1 sec. Hey, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you coming from?
Hello, it's David again. I tipped you off about this story. I told you guys...
Hey, what's up?
What's going on, David?
Hiya. The reason I told you guys is because I just wanted to know you thought about this, just to give you a little bit of background.
Okay,
you know this
way better than we do.
Okay, so here's the deal about EG. EG is probably the most well-funded team in StarCraft 2. They have the most money. They have the most amount of sponsorships. They're like the Yankees of StarCraft. Just think of them that way.
Yeah, that
right.
I can go with that. Yeah.
Okay, and Idra is a guy who's been on EG since StarCraft Brood War, like before StarCraft 2, and
so
he's
like
been playing StarCraft 2.
Yeah,
that's a long time.
That's a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been playing StarCraft 2 on EG, as you said in the statement, for 3 years. Just to give you an idea of when 3 years ago was, that was day one of the beta, of StarCraft 2 beta. He was already playing on EG. So this is sort of like the equivalent of like if the Yankees fired Derek Jeter for being a jackass.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of,
I was kind of going to go into like a sport-centric
I was going to ask the
explanation.
question of, like, now that Idra's been released, are any of the other teams are going to take him? And if they do, would that damage that team's image now, or would it
Well,
just...
I have a few examples I think I can use, but I'll go on.
Go on, Dave.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, there's a show called State of the Game on Twitch TV, and it's also on YouTube that broke this story that I was watching, and they actually have the same sort of conversation about this. And the thing with Idra is he's like you guys don't really follow StarCraft 2, but you know who Idra is.
Yeah,
Idra is maybe not one of like the absolute best players, but he's maybe the biggest name in StarCraft 2 as far as like general sort of name recognition goes. And that's why I thought that this news was like relevant to your show, because I know you guys don't really follow esports so much, but with Idra, it's like he has this like huge legion of fans, and he has a lot of his name has a lot of power. So I think whatever team picks him up, they're almost like, it almost becomes a sort of thing where they're like rivals to EG because they have Idra and he was kicked off of EG, so that they instantly sort of gain relevance, just from picking this one player up.
Okay, I think I have a way of kind of bringing this.
Yeah, bring this down to your knowledge.
Let's see if Dave has any further things. 'Cause I'm sure he has some things to go do. He doesn't want to sit here on the phone while I talk.
No.
You have anything else to add?
Oh, well, I just wanted to give you some background also, just to help you understand better. So this all started yesterday. Blizzard is running a big tournament called WCS, and it's sort of their answer to, you mentioned League of Legends. Riot runs a big tournament called LCS, where it has like $1 million prize pool. It's like a huge deal. Everyone who follows League of Legends, they just throw tons of money into it. And this tournament is basically the reason that League of Legends is a relevant esport, rather than being just sort of a really popular online game. This is like LCS is the whole reason that there is a competitive League of Legends scene. So Blizzard saw how well this was working for Riot, and they decided to sort of copy it. They've had the World Championship Series. They've had it for years and years, ever since Brood War. There's WCS, but they decided to like really make it a big deal this year, and they made it like a really big tournament. And they just threw tons of money into it because they're trying to make sure that StarCraft 2 stays on top as an esport. So anyway, there was a WCS for the American region, WCS America. Idra was playing a game yesterday in WCS America against an opponent by the name of Pulp. Pulp is a world-class Terran. He's really, really good. So anyway, Idra rage quits in that game, as he's sort of known to do, with max supply, and there was people were disappointed in him because he has a big following, and people were saying, he needs to stop this habit of rage quitting the game, all the time. And then what happened in the forum was there was actually one of his fans was defending him because someone was saying that Idra is only popular because he's a jerk to everyone and people like the sort of bad boy image, which may or may not be true. But then his fan says, oh, no, everyone says that, Idra's really a nice guy, and I'm sure that he doesn't like putting on this sort of like persona that he's a jerk because it makes him popular, so I'm sure he doesn't enjoy doing that, so you shouldn't say that about him. And then Idra responds with his, well, no, I actually hate you all, and I'm getting paid to hate you all, so haha, joke's on you. and I guess that was sort of the last straw for EG, and they let him go. But just to give you an idea of how much he might be making, and then I'll let you guys talk about whatever. But I think this is some good perspective that also other comments made on State of the Game said that Idra would probably be looking in somewhere in the neighborhood to it was like $4,000 to $6,000 a month or something like that. If he were to sign with another team,
So
that would be the salary he would be looking for. So if you do the math, that's anywhere from like $50,000 to $70,000 a year salary that he was making just to play StarCraft 2. That's not to win tournaments where you win more money on top of that, but if you can take an educated guess that his salary on EG was probably somewhere in the neighborhood of like $60,000 to $70,000, and he blew it because he was a jerk to someone on the internet, and now he has no job.
Well,
so yeah, I just thought it was a really interesting story, and it's certainly big news in the StarCraft community. So
yeah. So we're gonna talk about this.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about this a little bit more. Kind of just bring it. Like that was a good explanation, but I think some people will just.
We'll bring it into a more general argument.
All right, thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay, have fun with that. Talk to you guys.
You too. Bye bye.
Okay, as you know, I'm quite a big.
You're a big sports guy. You follow football,
MMA, baseball, basketball, everything. I mean, mostly football is my passion. I mean,
right.
You can't find me on a Sunday from September to almost February.
No, we can't unless you're trying. And more often than not, every time we see you after that, if your team won, you're probably wearing a Ravens shirt.
I'm always wearing Ravens gear. I'm wearing Ravens. The only reason I'm not wearing it today is because I don't wear my Ravens gear to the gym.
Fair enough.
But anyway, so the way I'm kind of understanding this is Idra. A lot of people perceive, as Dave said, a lot of people perceive him as he was playing a character, sort of this bad boy image to kind of get this fan backing. And it turns out he's actually really a jerk, and that ticked off some fans. And then the team finally was like, let's not do that. And well, when it comes to like any kind of sport, let's use the NFL for instance. If with the NFL, if you get basically released, you're anybody who picks you up, or let's say you go on free agency, anybody who picks you up, that automatically becomes like a rivalry game. For instance, like I said, I'm a Ravens fan. We recently one of our longtime players, Ed Reed, he went out into free agency after we won the Super Bowl, and he went to the Houston Texans. Now, like normally, a lot of people wouldn't think that was a huge deal. He just got more money offered somewhere, but he was an iconic player, and so the way it sounds is Idra's of that ilk, that
okay.
In the vein of like an iconic football player, somebody who was attached to something. And now with the football analogy, it's this upcoming season, week 3, the Texans happen to play at Baltimore. And normally no one would make a big deal about that game. But now because Ed Reed's coming here and he's going to be wearing a different uniform, they're making a big deal out of it. They actually select that's Ray Lewis's introduction to the ring of honor on the top of the stadium. We went there. You saw it.
Yes, we did. That was a
yeah.
very nice stadium.
Yes,
too.
it was. And they're making a big deal out of this. And I can see where this makes sense for that too. That Idra, if he goes to a different team, let's say he goes to Team. What were the other ones?
Team Liquid. Let's
Team
use
Liquid.
Team Liquid.
Let's say he goes to Team Liquid. That they automatically become like this. This becomes this talking point. Now it's Team Liquid versus his old team. It's what's going to happen here? How's he going to react? And I can see where that makes it seem like it's a lot bigger. And more often than not, in sports especially, it's not the person who makes it a big deal. Sometimes you do. You have the talking heads, they're not the talking heads, the big mouths. Sorry, but usually it's the talking heads that do it. When I say talking heads, I'm talking about the people the media, the analysts, these people, us.
Yeah.
Those people make the biggest deal out of it. And, there was a phrase that was coined this past season in football. I'm sorry that I'm not trying to turn this into a football discussion.
No, but you're using it as a proper analogy to what we're discussing.
There was this term that was coined when Tim Tebow went to the Jets. Mm-hmm. We live in New Jersey, so we got to see this firsthand. They said it was the circus came to town, and when you have a player, or in this case, a gamer who has a really cult following, a really hardcore following, people who are going to go with him no matter what.
The circus came to town.
The circus comes to town. People show up, and they show up in droves. Wow. Especially if that person isn't maybe not... I don't really know Idra that well. I know his name. I don't know... Like Dave was saying, he's not the best, but he's up there.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, maybe if, like, you know, he's not playing, like, you know, to his fullest... He might not, like, you know, it will cause, like, you know, these rumors to start and stuff. It's just, it will cause things like that. That's the best example I can come up with to put people into a world that maybe they can.
And from what you, Dave, explained from the analogy you gave, I have a better understanding of what we're looking at. So the answer to my question is, yeah, the teams are going to take them no matter what, even after this. It's not going to look a splotch on their record at all. They're going to see it as just like, oh, we're going to use it as an opportunity to bring more viewers to our site,
it depends, because if MLG, if competitive online gaming is anything like professional sports, what ends up happening is you have, in any professional sport, doesn't matter, like I said, I'm biggest into football, but this happens with any professional sport. You have the teams that like the back pages of the headlines, you know, they like to be that team that everyone's kind of talking about. Then you have the teams that kind of like to stay cool, calm, collected, under the radar, win a lot. It depends.
And then come out from nowhere.
It depends which team we're talking about here.
Okay.
Is there? I don't know. I don't really know the teams that well. I'm going to have to start doing my research a little bit more on this. I'll start to do that. If there's a team that likes to make a loud splash, that's going to be the one he ends up with. If there's a team that maybe likes to play it under the radar, and then likes to just kind of win and let their record speak for them, they're not going to be interested in a guy like Idra. Yeah. I'm trying to come up with the best possible example for that,
but it doesn't seem it's not easy.
It doesn't equate quite perfectly. It doesn't equate quite perfectly. And, you know, I feel like I'm running out of steam on this.
Yeah, so I feel like
I hope that answered the question. That's what Dave was looking for to get out of us.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can have him call in with this kind of stuff more often until we get a little bit more.
Yeah, until we become experts of esports. Like Dave can just be our esports guy.
Yes. Okay, but we'll follow that.
We'll keep following that.
We'll follow that down the line if he gets picked up by another team. Then we can re-examine this from there. But for now, we're going to move on to a different
Right now, we're going to enter another realm of video gaming. Legal issues.
I love some legal issues.
Oh, dear.
This one specifically, Gearbox, which we've mentioned almost every week that we've been doing this.
So far, yeah. I mean, first off, you had the last week they bought the Homeworld franchise, which I am still skeptical on. I will say that till I see Homeworld.
Gearbox should be paying us for this. We keep mentioning them. We're like name dropping. So let's
what we got.
So this actually is both Sega and Gearbox. They may be coming to a lawsuit over the Aliens Colonial Marines demos.
Yeah, I know this, and this has been going around the various other gaming news websites.
It's in the verse.
It's in there. It's out there. A lot of people have been talking about this. This is there's another lawsuit, which I'll get to in a minute, but I want to focus on this one because this is a really big lawsuit. The point of the lawsuit is...
I got the article right here in front of me. Basically what ended up happening was the demos were misleading, to say the least. Anybody who has been fortunate enough to not play the Aliens Colonial Marines game, count your blessings and pray to your chosen deity. I personally choose Cthulhu because I'm scared of him.
Okay,
but
I didn't play the game.
But no, I'm just saying I'm glad that I didn't, because apparently it was god awful. I actually happen to like the Aliens.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the Aliens franchise as well.
Now, basically, what's going on is a representative for let's see,
we're trying to pronounce the
legal team is going to be representing essentially a class action lawsuit for the people anybody who paid for in full through pre-order or day one the game, with the expectation that the demo would be extrapolated into it. The demo was nothing like the game.
No.
There was actually rumors that the demo was purposely tampered with to increase the sales of the game.
Yeah, and from what I've been hearing, in terms of advertising, supposedly Sega and Gearbox are still using the demo footage as the footage for the game to advertise the game.
I have a quote here, actually, from the main representative for the firm that's representing the entire lawsuit.
Yeah.
We think the video game industry is no different than any other that deals with consumers. If companies like Sega and Gearbox promise their customers one thing but deliver something else, then they should be accountable for that decision. What this essentially translates into is that any type of misleading is usually outside of the video game world, is usually met with some serious repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
It's considered fraud in most cases. Now, what this guy, I believe his name was Perrine, he's trying to establish that this in and of itself is fraud. Whether or not it's going to gain any ground, that's going to be hard. I mean, we all know how the legal system has handled video games in the past. They don't exactly.
They aren't the biggest fans of video games.
They don't deem it, even though it's becoming an increasingly larger medium for media. There's still a lot of, for lack of a better word, old farts sitting on the bench, and those old farts don't care about video games. And they might think this is a frivolous lawsuit, just people. But I think that there is some grounds to this. I think that
there's even probably some precedence to this already. I mean, when you look back, remember the War Z fiasco that went on last year?
Yeah, I briefly remember it.
It doesn't exactly fall on the same grounds, but it's kind of like the same issue where the company promised their fans the A, but the fans got E.
Yeah. And E sucks.
It does. E does suck.
Well, with this is even worse than that, though, because this was not only was it a promise, there was they went out of their way
and showed it,
and they went out of their way to make sure that people had a false, they were buying this game under false pretenses.
Exactly.
They were purchasing this game thinking it was going to be one thing. We even talked about this when the game was coming out. I was like, this looks pretty good. I've seen the demo. It looks pretty good. And I even suggested possibly picking it up. I'm glad that we didn't.
Well,
me and Brian have a tendency to collaborate on our game purchases
because it saves money, and I also power through the game. I'll finish the game in a day or two, and he takes his sweet time and beats it in a week or a month, depending on the game.
Yeah, right now, I mean, school coming to an end, I'm going to be playing more games. As you know, I keep a pretty tight schedule.
You do.
Yeah.
But with this in mind, this is just false advertising to, it's like the poster child for false advertising, in my opinion.
So at least the most recent poster child.
If this actually goes to court, Sega and Gearbox, I feel like, have no chance of winning. The evidence is clearly against them, in my opinion.
Oh, so Sega, nothing seems to go right for them anymore.
Well, the only good thing that they have, I'm not going to say Sonic's a good thing for them because they're driving Sonic into the ground.
Gotta go fast.
No, you don't.
Gotta go fast.
No, you know what Sonic's got to do? Sonic's got to slow down. Sonic's got to slow down and look back and just be like, okay, we got to start with Sonic from square one. The only good thing Sega's got going for them is the Creative Assembly, who creates the Total War franchise. And that's only because Sega is the publisher for it. They don't develop it. They just publish that. And the Total War franchise is one of my favorite real-time strategy games. The newest one, Rome Total War 2, comes out in September, and I can't wait for that.
I can. But...
Well, that's because it's not your type of game.
Oh.
There's another lawsuit recently that was released that's been going on lately.
A lot of lawsuits going on.
There is a lot. Well, look what country you're in. We're in a country of sue happy people.
Well, on the East Coast at least. West Coast not as much.
No, West Coast too. We just don't hear about it because we don't care. But the other big one that's been going on is the guys who created Super Scribblenauts and WB are being sued for copyright infringement.
I love Scribblenauts, might I add.
Well, Scribblenauts is a fun game, but they're being sued for copyright infringement by the creators of Nyan Cat. Now, I say Nyan as in Nyan, Nyan Cat, and Keyboard Cat. Now, if you have no idea what these are some of the most famous internet memes out there. Nyan Cat is just a cat's head on a Pop-Tart flying around with a rainbow coming out its ass. That's the simplest way I can explain it. And Keyboard Cat is just a cat playing a keyboard.
Both of them vastly inferior to Grumpy Cat, might I add.
They are inferior to Grumpy Cat.
I love me some Grumpy Cat.
Well, you're a cat guy, I'm a dog guy. I love dog memes.
I'm not a big
hello? Yes, this is dog. That's my favorite.
I'm definitely more of a cat person.
But they're being sued for copyright infringement. Now, you would think, but wait, these are famous internet memes. They're all over the place. People do them all the time. Well, yes, you are right. But the original creators of these memes have put copyrights on their images, and with the way copyright laws work, if you're going to be using their images, you can use their images as much as you want as long as you're not doing it for profit. If you're not making any money off the image, they don't care. But if you're going to start making money off the picture, you got to let them know to make sure they get their little piece of the pie or whatever. So that's why they're pissed off at WB, and I forget the name of the studio who does Scribblenauts. I think it's like Fifth Cell or something.
You know, that's actually a game I don't know who makes it. I never bothered.
You just know the game.
I just know the game.
WB I know publishes it, but and this is a really big issue because normally you would get what is it? So pretty much crap.
Brain fart.
Yeah, I'm having a massive brain fart. You got anything to say real quick?
Is there any way you can get the legal wording?
The legal wording for copyright law?
No. For specifically what was said about, the Nyan Cat and stuff. Do you have that on?
I don't have that on hand personally, but Nyan Cat, the pretty much definition of Nyan Cat is a character with a cat's face and a body resembling a horizontal breakfast bar with pink frosting sprinkled with light red dots that flies across the screen, leaving a stream of exhaust in the form of a rainbow.
You know, like every normal cat does.
Yeah, because cats just do that. But
my cat does.
Which one?
Dallas.
Dallas?
Yeah, Dallas. Okay. Snug's not so much. Snug's he's kind of a dick. he teases Dallas. He gets in her face and he posterizes her like LeBron. Like he gets up in her face and slam dunks over her
Someone
head.
in the comments says they can't say Pop-Tart in the complaint. Well, I know they can't say Pop-Tart in the complaint, but I'm not the one filing the complaint, so I can say Pop-Tart. Because when I look at the picture, I see a Pop-Tart.
I don't want to get sucked into any lawsuits, Brian. So I'm okay with rectangular toaster pastry for now. I will say
but pretty much this brings up an issue because the video game industry as a whole has always seen themselves as just like this giant, like the movie industry where we are untouchable. There's very little legal things that can happen to us. But these two guys are just like, dude, you used our images. That's legit infringement on our copyrights. We have legal claim to those pictures. And this is coming from two little guys who just honor the sanctity. I feel like there's more to this, but we're going to get back to this story in a little bit as more time of it develops because I'm not fully informed. I just read about it yesterday. And
this is another one of those ones. We'll just have to wait and hear. We'll do with all of our stories. When things come full circle, we can check it out.
The big one though, the biggest one that happened in these past 2 weeks happened this past Tuesday. I know a lot of you heard about it. I know a lot of you have talked about it. And I posted on our Facebook forums the question is this a good or a bad thing? A couple people responded with it's a good thing. A couple people said it's a bad thing. Some people I know who I've talked to about it gave their opinions about it. But if you don't know what it is, or if you just came out from under your rock,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You actually do have an idea what I'm talking about.
Well, you haven't said it yet. I'm still trying to figure out the hell you're talking about.
Okay, what I'm talking about is, recently we've all heard that Disney acquired LucasArts. So Disney now owns the Star Wars franchise, and they're working on their films. But a lot of people wondered, well, what about their games? What's going on with the Star Wars games? Well, we have our answer. Disney gave Electronic Arts, EA Games, the exclusive, and I mean exclusive deal to make all the Star Wars games.
The EA Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. That's something we saw on Kotaku, which I thought was pretty clever. Now, the reason I bring this up is, A, not only is it one of the biggest stories that will come out this week, which brings up a lot of discussion, but now we actually can discuss, like right now from what I've been reading, EA and EA's properties, like EA owns DICE, Visceral, BioWare.
Yeah, not Bethesda. They don't own
Not Bethesda. Not yet. Maybe they will. Who knows? I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to keep my lips shut on that one. But this is like the biggest story that I've read in a long time because there's so much speculation that can go into this story. So already, and once this deal is revealed, EA has already said DICE is working on a Star Wars game and Visceral Games are working on a Star Wars game. Now, a lot of people have asked, well, what does this mean for Star Wars 1313? 1313's dead. That game is officially dead. It's not going to ever be made. But the fact that DICE is making a Star Wars game intrigues me. Now, here's why it intrigues me. I'm thinking they're going to be making Battlefront 3. Would you agree with me on that, or would you say something different?
Well, they might not call it Battlefront 3, but I think the Battlefront series will be continued.
Yeah, like
there's been a cry out for it recently.
There's been a cry out for it, and if anyone is going to make it, it's going to be the guys who made the Battlefield games, and yeah, they're going to be using and I just remembered, they're going to be using Frostbite 3 engine for all these games. The same engine that DICE developed for the Battlefield game. So it would make sense for DICE to make the Battlefront game because they make Battlefield, because they are the exact same game, in a sense. It's just Battlefield in space. And you know what? Like I said, very much so. Just like that.
Lots of space.
Lots of space. But my curiosity is with Visceral. Someone goes, that audio clip was very loud. I'm sorry. I'm going to adjust the audio later today.
I think that was the point. We're supposed to catch people off guard with that.
Yeah. So, Visceral Games, I have no idea what they're going to be working on. BioWare is already doing the Old Republic. Now, could you see another KOTOR game or another Star Wars RPG?
I honestly think that the KOTOR series is done. The Old Republic MMO kind of tainted the name of Old Republic for a little while, so I'm not sure if they're going to be doing a third one. I mean, maybe. Maybe. They might have to let that whole backlash of the MMO Old Republic kind of die off. Because I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
Same here.
I couldn't really stand that game.
I could bear it for a little bit.
Nah, I just felt like I wasn't getting anywhere ever.
But this is really big news because now we're going to start seeing Star Wars games in this very beautiful photorealistic graphic engine. And there's so much speculation to what EA is going to do. I hope EA, for when E3 comes around in, I believe, a few weeks or next month, I'm not 100% certain on the dates for E3 this year. When EA...
Great, that means I'm going to have to watch it with you, aren't I?
No, I could DVR it.
That means I still have to watch it with you, don't I?
Probably.
Great.
Or you can watch them on your own.
I'll just watch it with you.
So it's interesting to see what EA will bring to E3 this year once acquiring this. Maybe they've been working on titles for a while now, and they just decided now to make it public with E3 just around the corner. So I'm interested to see what they've been working on, if they've been working on anything already, or what they're going to bring to the table. But right now, I think we got to take a trip to the room.
No. Let's save the room. We got to do our top fives.
Oh, we got to do our top fives.
Yeah, we're gonna do top fives today.
Top fives. So
like we said earlier, with Iron Man 3 coming out, we have our Marvel week, so to say.
Yeah.
We're not going as all out as we did for the LucasArts death of. We realized that was a little too much. But we have our top 5 games based on Marvel property. You spelt Marvel wrong.
I did?
You spelt it Marvle. You spelled it like marble. How the hell did you do that?
I don't know. I think I was like extremely tired when I typed this up.
I should revoke your nerd card. Like, seriously. This is unacceptable.
You know what?
No, I'm mad. This is you better. I'm done. I'm done until you fix. Now it's Mavele.
How do you spell Marvel?
Oh my god.
I did it again.
There we
go.
Okay, I can read this now. Okay. Sorry, that was I couldn't take that. That hurt me to my core. Right there.
Okay, so Russ, why don't you start off with your top 5?
No, I think I need a minute. You do yours.
I need a minute too. Give me 1 sec.
Okay, I'll take care of it. Okay, so for mine, this is in no particular order. One of my basically I tried to keep it sort of evened out, like not clumped too much. I see you pretty much clumped into one, but I tried to not.
They were good games.
Okay, so this is the order. Ultimate Spider-Man, which came out, was on the PS2 and Xbox. It was a really good game based on the Ultimate's.
Yeah, that was a pretty fun
continuity.
game. I enjoyed it.
That was a good one. It was one of the few where you actually got to play as Venom.
I never really beat the game, but
you got to play as Venom though throughout the game, and there was random cameos too, which was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna give away too much. Even though it's an old game.
Yeah, it is.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I think everybody saw this one coming.
Yeah.
Still one of the highest level fighting games to ever come out.
Yeah.
I still have nightmares about the Mega Man Iron Man cable combo that people could hit you with.
Oh God.
X-Men Legends, which both of them, but really the first one. They were just really good games. They kind of kicked off the Marvel going the route of having multiple on-screen players as RPGs, and X-Men Legends just had a really good storyline to it as well. Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction is another one on my list. It's GTA if GTA was played with the Incredible Hulk. And
there was very little storyline. It was just go have fun.
Yeah, the storyline was go beat things up.
Go have fun.
They try to kill you. And the last one, and this one might come as a little bit of a surprise to people, X2 Wolverine's Revenge.
That is a shock, even to me.
Well, the reason why, a lot of people hear X2 and they're like, oh, it's a movie game. It really wasn't a movie game. It actually was a complete independent game, had nothing to do with the movie X2.
Yeah.
It was actually based on the comic continuity, and a lot of people don't even realize that. It was kind of like a sort of...
Didn't Mark Hamill play Wolverine in that one?
I think he did. It was kind of one of those, it was somewhere between, action beat-em-up and, stealthy sort of... Mm-hmm. It was pretty cool. And you have to use, his super senses and his claws. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, when I was developing my list, I was tempted to actually put X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Why?
Because I actually enjoyed that game, but then I was just looking back and replaying the game in my mind. I was like, yeah, nope, never mind. That game was not as great as I thought it was. So my top 5, I kind of went just down the current, one series. That's mainly because those were all the games I played that I thoroughly enjoyed and would go back to play again. Again, like Russ's list, this is in no particular order, of no particular favoritism. I hate doing, a top 10, 10, my number 1 game is this, or... because it's just stupid. So for me, I have Spider-Man: Web of Shadows.
Good game.
This game is very fun, and the storyline for it wasn't that great. What made me love this game was the combat system, the constant aerial combos I would pull off. They were just very fun, very fluid. Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
In the same vein as X-Men.
In the same vein as X-Men Legends. Pretty much the same vein. Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Self-explanatory. Now, this was the one I'm about to say was the very first... one of my earliest memories playing video games, and one of the first video games I actually played. It was Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage for the Super NES. If any of you remember that game, points on you. That game was freaking awesome.
I was considering putting that on my list too. There was a sequel to that too.
I don't remember.
Separation Anxiety.
That was it. But I preferred Maximum Carnage just because it was one of the first times I ever saw Carnage. I'm like, who the hell is that guy? He looks cool. And it was around the time that the Spider-Man animated series was going on.
Actually, I believe that those games were for the animated series.
They probably were.
I believe they were.
And the last one, again, probably related to the animated series, was Spider-Man the Game on PS1.
That one has become sort of a legend of its own.
Yeah, it became a legend on its own. Now, I'm losing my train of thought. I hate when I do that.
Okay, let's take a little.
We're gonna open the door to the room.
The Russ's Retro Room.
Russ's Retro Room. Hang on. Let me get the audio for that.
Well, as everyone knows, the Russ's Retro Room is where I do a review on a older game. Usually trying to go past the PS2 era, but it could be on PS2. In this particular one, we're actually going even further back. So let's get ready here. And welcome to Russ's Retro Room. I kind of like how we separate it into a whole separate segment just about me.
It is. It's your retro room. This is your stick.
We actually moved to a completely different room.
We actually do. We went from our regular little studio with a couch and a coffee table to another studio with a couch and a coffee table.
Yes, but it is the room.
But instead of blue walls, it's red walls.
Yes. And today what I'm going to be reviewing is X-Men the arcade game.
Oh my God, I remember that game.
It's well known for its horrible script, which is one of the things with such greats as I Am the Master of Magnet and this one, my favorite. X-Men Welcome to Die.
Oh man, how many people remember that one? That arcade game was really fun.
Now this was the thing about the X-Men arcade game was that it was based on a failed attempt at a show. There was a pilot episode called Pride of the X-Men, which is a play on words for Kitty Pryde, also known as Shadow Cat.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people know her as the one who was played by what's that girl's name?
Ellen Page. Ellen
Page played her in the movie. I'm sorry, I couldn't remember her name all of a sudden. And she, in that show, they were trying to go. This was before the X-Men cartoon came out, so this was like the first test run.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, it was a failed show, but they still used it as a way to put out an arcade game, which has become kind of iconic. It's actually made its way over to the downloadable.
Yeah, it's on the marketplace.
It's on the market now. And when you look at it, it was, first of all, we'll look at it as the arcade when I was younger. This was the game I always wanted to play.
Yeah,
there was 6 characters. It was 6 characters. There was Colossus, Storm, Wolverine, Cyclops. I can't remember the other 2 all of a sudden. It doesn't matter. But because I always played as
I think one was Gambit.
Gambit, maybe.
Wolverine.
I said Wolverine.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't matter. I always played as Colossus. And basically, it was 6 joysticks lined up on one side, and it was one of the largest screens you could get on an arcade. This was like the size of the screen for like Time Crisis, but for a side scroller beat 'em up. And the sprites on the screen were huge. It was very, very unique for its time. And the way it slowly it slowly got phased out of a lot of arcades. People were always clamoring for it. The game itself, it had your standard beat 'em up, style of in the Streets of Rage style of doing things. But everybody had their own superpower,
Cyclops had his beams, Colossus had the
Yeah, he would just yell, which has nothing to really do with his power, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And it had all the staple villains. You had Pyro, the Blob, Juggernaut. I'm the Juggernaut bitch.
Yeah. Everyone knows that meme. And how it died.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, basically this was for its time. It was really, really good. It was I drained so many quarters playing this game.
You and me both.
Yeah, and I remember there would be lines around this particular arcade game all the time, and like people just wanted to play it, even though maybe even people who didn't really like comic books at the time. I was actually really into comic books when I was younger, still am, but even more so when I was younger, and I could afford it before they upped the prices. That's another retro thing. Cheap comic books.
Yeah.
But basically, the graphics for the time were standard side-scroller graphics, cartoon-looking, which was good because it was based on a cartoon. So that was good. The sound, in spite of the really terrible soundbite choices.
Yeah.
The actual sound of the game was really
very
good.
Fun.
It was because if you remember, there was a lot of arcade games where it would just big walls of text where it would explain what you were doing. This one actually talked to you, which was really cool. Like I said, it was multiplayer, and it was very just having a bunch of people there. The more people you had, the better chance you had of beating the game. It was pretty long for an arcade game too. I don't
remember how long it was.
There was at least 6 bosses I can think of off the top of my head, and they weren't even all the main bosses.
No, they were mostly probably sub-bosses.
Yeah. And, it was just a really fun game. And at the time, it did not require...
Oh, I think Storm was one of the characters.
I did say Storm.
Okay.
I couldn't remember the last one. It doesn't matter. But Dazzler. Dazzler was the last one. Dazzler.
The one no one cared about.
No one played as Dazzler.
It was like the Jubilee before Jubilee.
Yeah. But anyway, where was I? You derailed my train.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay. Basically, at the time, I'm going to look at it in the sense of what it was at the time, not compared to nowadays. And back then, graphics didn't matter as much because graphics all sucked, pretty much around the board. And all games were about then was fun. So I'm going to give the game a fun rating of a 4 out of 5.
It's a pretty fun game.
That's my rating. It's a 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
Only reason why it's not a 5 out of 5 is because putting quarters in sucks.
It did.
And with those games, they were pretty much designed to suck quarters out of your pocket.
Now you can download the game and play it however many times, however long you want.
Yeah.
It's on the Xbox Network. It's on the PS Network. I don't know about the Wii's network.
I don't think it's on the Wii. I know for a fact it's worth grabbing on the Xbox or the PS3. But the only reason why I knock it down from a 5 is because, like I said, fumbling around for quarters and that just kind of knocks it down a little bit. But I'll give it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, and that mentioning the Wii actually reminded me.
I'll just close the door on the room. Don't worry.
Yeah, the door is closed on the room. Yeah. We're going back to just a brief topic I just remembered. Recently, EA announced that they're not going to support the Wii U with their Frostbite engine.
Well,
the Wii U has.
I'm not shocked. The Wii U has. It's basically built off of the current technology.
Yeah.
It's not built on the It's not built on the next gen.
It's not next gen. It's current gen.
It's current gen.
It's what the Wii should have been.
Yeah, and I'm not shocked that they would go that route.
But Nintendo's still going to be around because people buy their first-party games, and their first-party games make a crap ton of money.
Yes, that is the truth. And Nintendo has gotten to the point where they don't really even need to worry about third-party support. I mean, you think about it, they have 3 mainstays that people can mention all the time. I think I've said this in the past. Mario. They have Donkey Kong, which they're putting out a new one soon. I know that. We'll have that for the next show. And Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
And as long as those 3 still exist, they're fine. They have no problems whatsoever. They will be able to pump out a game and people will buy it. You can throw Mario's name on anything.
And their DS.
Tennis, golf.
And then there's always they have better third-party support on the 3DS than they do on their main console.
Yeah. Oh, Pokemon. Pokemon is
Nintendo
mainstay, but that's not. They don't really do console games for the Pokemon.
They should.
Every time they've tried, they failed. It's unfortunate.
Law of averages, man. Law of averages. Sooner or later, you're going to get a good one.
I'm still hoping for the Pokemon MMO that everybody keeps telling me is in the works,
The Pokemon Generations or whatever it's called.
But it's never gonna happen.
We should just make it ourselves.
Well, my friend whose uncle works at Nintendo once told me that it's gonna happen, but I don't think his uncle really works at Nintendo.
He probably works at Nintendo. The Nintendo knockoff companies or something.
But yeah, that's basically the whole situation.
Yeah.
When it comes to that, is that they don't even really need it. They've gotten to the point now where they can laugh when somebody says we're not going to support you.
They're just like, yeah, we're not going to support you. Okay.
We don't need it. It's we'll just put we'll put out 16 more Mario games and we'll be fine.
We enjoy your money, but at the same time, we just don't need it because we've been around longer than you two.
I didn't play Galaxies because, like I said, I don't have a Wii, so I don't know how good Galaxies was. Or Galaxy, I should say. Sorry.
I have a Wii, and I just don't care.
Well, the fact that they were able to sell so many systems simply on playing golf or bowling, whatever. I don't think it's really going to affect them in the slightest.
Right.
I'm starting to lose it, man.
I'm starting to lose it as well.
So
we pretty much ran our course. We pretty much talked about everything we wanted to talk about. Like someone's going, the Wii U has been a huge flop. Well,
it has been.
It has been a huge flop. You're right. It has had a crappy launch window. But then again, so did the Wii. When you look at it.
No, the Wii had a good launch window. What are you talking about? You're out of your mind.
Well, I'm sorry, not the Wii. The 3DS. The 3DS had a.
Oh, okay.
Had a really crappy launch window as well. And you know what though? It doesn't matter. People are still going to buy the systems. You're gonna give Nintendo your money. I'm gonna buy a 3DS in the future anyway, mainly because of the new Pokemon. Because the new Pokemon looks like a complete and utter innovation of the series.
I have slowed down on my Pokemon play recently, actually.
No,
I've been playing Darksiders a lot lately. We've been talking about it so much, I had to pop it back in.
Yeah, Darksiders is a fun game, but like. I've asked people, like, do you see this as the fall of Nintendo? Some people have said yes. Some people have said no.
I honestly think as soon as they release a next-gen Legend of Zelda, the sales will go up.
Oh, I agree completely. Like a next-gen, not even Zelda, a new Mario.
No. I think a new Mario. I think Legend of Zelda is going to be the one. If they to boost their sales around Christmas time.
Well, I think around Christmas they're going to re-release an HD remake of Wind Waker.
That's a problem that they have.
But it's a totally revamp of the graphic engine.
But that was what made Wind Waker fun, with the graphic engine.
Well, they're still keeping the cartoony look. It's just going to be more vibrant.
Okay, I can see that.
It's like a much more vibrant, cartoony look. Like, I'll show you the images after we go off air. But from right now, I think we've pretty much run our course with topics we want to talk about.
Let's just take a couple minutes here.
All right, let's see what people are saying in the comments real quick. The Wii had a ridiculously good launch, except people aren't buying the system. Going to get overshadowed by the PS4 and the new Xbox, which I may remind people, the new Xbox reveal is May 21st at...
that's the day after I get inducted into the National Honor Society.
That is the day, so... And it's a Tuesday, so I'm going to be recording it. I won't be able to watch it live because I'll be working on stuff. But from there... the Wii U is obviously going to get overshadowed by the PS4 and new Xbox because the PS4 and the new Xbox are the new hit systems where all the popular games go. Oh, and PC, of course. PC.
I really think that Legend of Zelda is going to be the thing that...
Yeah, they're going to be releasing a big... someone else said they better release a big first-party title soon or they are going to be forgotten. Nintendo's not going to be forgotten. I'm sorry. Nintendo be forgotten... No, I don't think so. Nintendo's still going to keep...
They survived the GameCube debacle.
The GameCube was a good system.
But at the time, nobody cared about it.
Yeah, I agree with you, the Wii U, but then again, this is Nintendo's current marketing strategy. But I feel they feel it's working for them, so they're just like, yeah, let's keep down this road.
I think if anything, the handhelds have always been their thing that kept them afloat.
Yeah. I've always said, if push comes to shove, I feel like Nintendo may get out of the home console market and just stick with handhelds.
Yeah, well,
I feel that, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know.
So Brian.
Yes.
Let's not talk about video games for a second here. Let's just talk about life. we're going to be moving the show in a good direction soon.
Yes, we are.
You know, we're going to be actually switching to a more soundproof studio.
A more soundproof studio, not in a room in my house. Maybe a different room in my house. Who knows? Maybe an actual studio. Who knows?
Yeah.
Only I do.
And hopefully we're going to be moving to a multi-microphone set.
Multi-mic set. We've got a setup for that. Multi-mic set. We may actually start getting people coming in and joining on our conversations in studio.
Yeah, I've been in contact with a few people.
So have I. I've been in contact with some people who said, "Hey, I want to be on the show with you guys." I'm like, "Sure, just let me know your availability." And
we do need people to start emailing us questions. What is the email?
The email for if you guys have questions for us, there's a couple ways you can get in contact with us. We have our own Facebook page. You can follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/gamenationradio. We have a Twitter account where you can follow us at gamenationradio. And the email is gamenationradio@gmail.com. So that's 3 ways you guys can get in contact with us outside of the regular phoning into the station, joining in on our chat board. There's a million ways to get in contact with us. If you have any questions you want us to answer on the show.
I count 5. I don't count a million. Is there more that you're not telling me about?
Maybe. Well, there's coming up to me in person outside the show and asking me a question I want to bring up on the show. And I was like, oh, I'll bring that up on the show.
Except for the people who directly know you, no one knows what you look like.
Shh.
Well, that's why we're going to have to get a website up.
We're working on getting a website up. It's in the process. Once that's up, we'll let you guys know. There you can listen to all the episodes we've already recorded and our new episodes that'll be coming out every 2 weeks. So, but like I said, outside of the email, outside of the getting contact with us directly through the phone or through our chat room, you can get in contact with us at our Facebook page. Look for facebook.com/gamenationradio, Twitter @gamenationradio, and our email gamenationradio@gmail.com. That's 3 sources right there you get in contact with us outside of live broadcasts. Send your questions, your comments, recommendations for other retro games to check out if Russ's list is getting short.
My list is plenty long.
Your list is plenty long, but you can always add more on there.
I mean, I take requests.
Yeah, we'll take requests. If you have a news story you want us to check out, send it to us from there. That way we can get better informed and give you more stories on the air and better discussion.
And also we can broaden our horizons. I mean, we are not experts by any stretch of the imagination.
No, by no means we are not experts yet.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I got. You got anything planned for the weekend?
For the weekend?
I mean, I don't see you much anymore. I mean, I've been busy with school.
Well, I've been busy with this and other commitments as well. Over the weekend, this weekend, I don't know. Maybe I'll go see a movie. Maybe I'll go see Iron Man 3 again. I think it's worth a second watch.
I don't, but that's besides the point.
And then next week, I'm going to see Star Trek.
Okay, that works.
I'm going to see Star Trek.
Brian is a very big movie goer.
I am.
You see, I have 2 jobs: school, jiu-jitsu training, filming for things, this radio show. I got a lot of stuff going on in my life.
He has a large list of things to do, whereas I have work, the radio show,
and sitting on your ass for long periods.
Well, besides, I'm also working, like I said earlier, I'm working on developing a web series with a bunch of friends of mine. We're in still pre-production, so don't expect any news from that just yet. Once I have more word on that, I'll let you guys know so you can follow along with our development progress. Also on top of that, that's just 3 things: work, lounging around, and the web series.
There's a 4th thing in there, but I don't think we should mention it on the over the internet. We'll just leave that at that.
Bowling?
No, we'll just leave it at that, ladies and gentlemen, and that's going to be our show for today.
That's going to be our show for Game Nation, guys. Thanks for joining us this week. We'll see you all in 2 weeks. All right? Goodbye.